Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Men's Basketball Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Scarry. And Coach, Tigers opened up the season Monday night against Colorado out in Boulder. First meeting between the two schools in 32 years. And not the best start, but the team had only 8 points with about 8 minutes to go in the first half. You ended up making a big run at the end of the half to cut a 12-point deficit down to 4. And I'm sure at halftime you probably felt okay about how things had gone over the last half of that first half.
Yeah, Colorado's good, so maybe even a little bit better than we had thought, and they certainly were ready. I think we played hard early. We didn't play great. They had something to do with that. And then we did, thought maybe the last 10 minutes of the first half we played pretty good, especially defensively. Our first half defense was really good, and
did a great job with De Silva. They're all Pac-12 players.
Yeah, he's good. It got away from us, as you know, quickly in the second half. That was probably most disappointing. It was like we came back from a flight and watched it. You know, not that some of the guys had already seen it, but we just needed to see it. I think, numbers, but we got like almost 65% of our shots were from 8 feet and in, which is usually pretty good against an upper-level team. So I like that. We made like 36% of those, which is, you got to be around 60 to have
So
a
you
good
didn't like
team.
that?
I didn't like that. I think I know we're better than that. What really, we talk a lot about live ball turnovers. We had a couple of those early, which hurt us in transition. They're very good in transition. But it's the same thing. If you miss like shots at the rim against good teams, you'll pay the price on transition. That's what happened the second half. I mean, they're like lickety split. We missed 4 shots at the rim. Either they got blocked or we missed, and they turned them into threes.
Well, they were 0 for 7 from three-point range in the first half, but then hit their first 8 threes in the second half.
Yeah, but I think the difference in the first half, they were all guarded, contested threes, and we missed some shots at the rim, and then they made us pay in transition, scrambles. We used a timeout with 18 minutes left to 17, and then there's a media at 16. So we couldn't stop the bleeding. So they blitzed us, we didn't respond the way that we will need to respond over the course of the season.
A lot of new faces. Dylan Williamson, he certainly impressed last night with 15 points. Played a very good game for a kid that, coming off a redshirt season. And sometimes you wonder about that. Guys can be a little rusty.
No, he exudes confidence. I didn't like a couple of his shots, but he's really shooting it from 3. He made some really good plays off the dribble. And I thought his defense was much improved last night. So that was very encouraging.
How about Christian May? He had a rough night, did not make a field goal in the ball game.
Yeah, he had good shots. I think the bigger issue with us right now is like, how do we become a more consistent team? And yeah, I think sometimes with players, old or young, if they miss a shot, they let that affect other areas of the game. So yeah, he did not have a good night shooting it. But he's really capable on the glass and defensively, and that stuff was missing. Not just with him, but probably for 3 or 4 other guys that, sometimes that happens. That doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but the quality of our play, I think, needed to be better. That, that first 10 minutes of the second half, and he'll bounce back. I mean, we're going to need him to, the sooner the better.
You were very liberal in your substitutions last night. Were you trying to find the right combination?
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet on that. I mean, right now we've got 10 guys that are ready, healthy, eligible. So we got 10 guys, and we're going to use them all. I think we're not quite there yet on who, when, where, and why. Some of that's going to depend on how well guys produce, to be honest with you. So I think from a coaching standpoint, as we look at stat sheets during the media timeouts and going into games, we've got to do a better job being in tune with who do we got to go to, when and why. Eventually, I think that's going to help us. We only really played with 10. We only had 10 last year. We didn't go into it that way, but then we lost guys. So this year we're going into it hoping we're going to add a couple. So that would be good. But right now we get 10, and we've got to just kind of figure it out. That's more than enough.
All right. Busy week. 2 more games coming up this week. You've got Coppin at Coppin on Thursday night, and then Robert Morris on Sunday at TU Arena, which is the first home game of the year. The Eagles, and I know Nenda Tark would love to be able to play in this game if the NCAA somehow gives you guys a phone call in the next couple of days. But Coppin, good local rivalry.
Yeah, it's a local game. It's a road game. There are no gimmies on the road. Those guys will be excited to play. They've got a terrific front court player in Justin Winston who's been there. He does a little bit of everything, and he's a high-level transfer. So, look, at going on the road, can we be better than we were last night? In certain areas, you know what I mean? Like finishing, obviously that jumps out. And then
rebounding?
Yeah, but, one of the things that kills your rebound margin, you miss so many layups, they're right there, and they're off to the races. Now, I will say we didn't block out well enough in the second half. That was more disappointing. So, yeah, we've got to do better in those areas. A lot of these are fact-finding missions about your team and where you're at. I'll stick by it. They work really hard, and they're a connected group, but we've got to make sure that in certain areas we just get better.
And then the Colonials on Sunday night at TU Arena.
Yeah, Andy Toole's a friend and does a great job there, and they'll be good. They had a tight game with Xavier last night. They really should have beat Penn State in one of those charity exhibition games. And it's a comparable league. The Horizon's a lot like the CAA, so there's some outstanding teams in that. That'll be a challenge. I haven't started watching them yet, so I don't want to misspeak on, but they have a very good transfer though from Western Michigan and from LSU that can both really play.
All right, a little off the beaten path here, but you played a close scrimmage against James Madison, and I know you don't want to divulge everything, but did you see them as being a team that could beat Michigan State?
Well, Mark Byington and I work together. They're good. We had what I would call a really productive scrimmage with them. I think that's probably what you get frustrated with a little bit. Like, I don't think we played great last night, but all of a sudden it's 4. So now you say, hey, it's the first 4 minutes. If you can hold the fort, now it becomes a ball game. So,
right.
I mean, they're picked to win the Sun Belt. I think in college basketball, there's a lot more parity than people realize, and it's about, your kids being ready to play and execute every night. I wouldn't have, if I were a wagering man, I wouldn't have bet on Massive. I can't tell you I'm shocked. They've got a couple of, I would consider, first-team all-league kids, and, I thought they were very good.
All right. Well, hopefully the Tigers will be very good on Thursday and Sunday. I'll have the broadcast for you Thursday night on TowsonTigers.com starting at 7:45. And then Jimmy Patsos and I will make our debut on Monumental Sports on Sunday at 7 p.m. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Scarry, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in. As always, go Tigers.
No trivia?
No.